Boop. I'm live. It's Friday. In the middle of the summer. I have a long week traveling around offices fixing print servers and shit. Not a fun week. Anyone who's ever worked in IT knows to hate printers. Right, who's with us? Robert is gonna drive old American cars tomorrow. That's nice. Sick is with us, Norm is with us, Noble Carl, Greg, Captain, Orfolk, Abbe. Skål på er. I still have the same beer from last Friday. I'm not a big beer drinker. I do love beer, but I'm not the person who drinks like 10 beers at one time or something. Kalle is at the island called Öland. Yeah. So apparently Sweden is joining NATO. That's nice. Well over a year after we said we were gonna join NATO and all the other NATO countries accepted us, but Turkey has been fucking around. So now, I don't know. Now, we threw a bunch of money at the problem or something. I don't know what they did. And Erdogan finally said, okay, you get to join NATO. And then he said, well, we're gonna have to wait a couple of months because we're gonna have, yeah. But Billström says he doesn't believe that, and he says it's gonna happen as soon as possible, or we won't go forward with our agreement with Turkey. So anyone who thought we're actually gonna join NATO, sorry to say, that's not gonna happen until the fat Turkish asshole sings or something. I don't know. It's all bullshit. Mr. Michael Knight. I recognize this name from someplace, some 80s TV series. Anyway, insane that the Swedish narrative is, oh my god, we are a NATO member now. No, we're not. At this rate, we're never gonna join NATO. And I think it's hilarious because for the longest time, Sweden has pretended to be neutral. We've never been neutral. It's just a socialist fairy tale to appease the communist spies among us, basically. Russia has fed a bunch of different organizations in Sweden with spies and useful idiots forever. One of those organizations is called Svenska Freds. It's an organization that's anti-gun, anti-war, anti-anything. Same with the political party Vänsterpartiet. They were actually directly funded by Comintern back in the day, the Soviet Union. The environmentalist party Miljöpartiet, a bunch of Russian spies. Basically all environmental organizations, the far left, the far right. This is not just Sweden. It's a lot of countries. But yeah, Sweden has been very afflicted by that shit. Did I have a point to that little mini rant? I don't know. Fuck it. Let's just look at some news, I guess. There we go. So the newspaper or magazine Jakt och Jägare, Hunting and Hunters, says NATO issue. And basically what the article says is civilian shooters won't be able to get time at a shooting range, at least in Gotland, because if a Russian invasion ever happens, the island of Gotland will be the prime target. It's basically a big aircraft carrier in the middle of the sea. So we need to defend that, right? And the military there can't really build more shooting ranges because the environmentalists keep complaining. The neighbor says it's loud. The municipality is a bunch of cunts. All that and more. They don't really give a shit about the defense of the country or what's pragmatically the best, or what is the best thing to do. Best things to do is always, if you want peace, prepare for war. The thing with Sweden is we have done the opposite of if you want peace, prepare for war. So we have prepared for peace in the most retarded way possible. We have basically destroyed our military, we have destroyed our economy, we have destroyed our culture, we have destroyed everything in Sweden. Not even the sewage pipes work anymore. Well, compared to Somalia, it's still a really great place though. But yeah, we've done the opposite of preparing for shit hits the fan. So it's kind of hilarious now when so if you don't know anything about Sweden, things really have to go to shit before the politicians even wake up to the problem. And then you have to wait 10 years for something to happen. So in 2015, politicians actually woke up to immigration being an issue. And now they're trying to do something about it and the criminality that's happened to Sweden. By 2025, something might actually happen. We'll see if something will ever happen. But yeah, they discover the problem when it's too late. Then it takes 10 years before they actually react to the problem. That is Sweden. So I've talked about all the little investigations the current government is doing. They made another one that's at least hunting related. They want to limit the wolves in Sweden. And if an animal, for example, gets hit in traffic, you have to go and find it and shoot it so it doesn't suffer. So they want to make that process simpler. So I don't know. Probably not something that's going to affect my viewers that much unless you're living in a part of Sweden that has a lot of wolves. Basically, that means that you can't really hunt properly in those areas. And if you manage to kill a wolf in self-defense, or if you actually have a permit to hunt it, then that's the environmentalist would make your life hell. We have a bunch of prosecutors that would not want anything other than just prosecute you for bullshit crimes. Whatever. Continuing on, our dear military is spending a lot of money. They're buying swords for 50 million Swedish krona, and that's like 5 million euros or $5 million or whatever. Yeah. So I guess they want to do a lot of parades or something. Who knows? But nothing much has happened. It's in the middle of the summer. Everyone in Sweden has vacation now. I can even find a parking space without circling around for half an hour. Yeah. Captain says, at least Sweden didn't have stupid China flu policies, but it doesn't matter if everyone else shuts down. Yeah, so the biggest reason we didn't have that is because the politicians are handicapped and can never make a decision. So sometimes that's a good thing. Obviously the country is still working in some capacity, even though our politicians and government employees and everyone is technically retarded or something. I don't know. So that tells me everything you need to know about our government. Solis 1000 wants to know, what are your opinion on DARs? Have you tried one? I've had one for 10 plus years on an IPSC license. DARs, what's that an abbreviation of? Is that a brand of ARs? Write in chat the company name of it. I might know about it, but Matt says Scotland is a very slow carrier. It is, but if you don't need it to move, it's fine. You can control basically everything from there. No one can get past you if you have Gotland. Skål på dig, Anders. Our current Fall friend says our current supply of sabers are basically falling apart. The new sabers are sorely needed. Yeah, I can imagine that's why they're buying it. Yeah, they look pretty with them. Normal wants to know if the police is slow handling licensing everywhere. Yes, they are. You can find the average handling times on policem.se, their homepage. My record for that is 1 year. And I did get the license. There was no appeals or anything. With appeals counted in, my record is 7 years. And I did not get that license. It was me trying to get a 50 cal. So this says it's a brand of ARs. DAR. So what does the D stand for? I don't know. Daniel Defense or something? Those are good, I can tell you that much. 5 to 6 weeks in Västmanland, says the Noble Carl. Yeah, I don't know what it is in Stockholm. Let's see if we can find out. Should be this page. Beep. So doesn't they used to tell us how long it was? Okay, so they're telling us that it's 8 weeks. 8 weeks. That's the average in Sweden, I guess. 8 weeks. So 4 weeks is not that bad. That's hilarious because our Justice Ombudsman has told the police that the maximum time frame is 4 weeks. That's how long they can take. Otherwise, they're basically breaking the law. But this is the police we're talking about. They're above the law. I think I have... No, that's another book. Whatever. Is it the Swedish Defcon ARs? No, those are newer than 10 years old. Defcon ARs are basically rebranded stuff. They're just building from parts. Dynamic Arms Research. Let's check that out. Oh, this is a... Let's have a look at this. It's a German brand I haven't heard about yet. Well, it seems like they use Magpul stuff, have M-Lock and whatnot. Germans usually make good stuff. I recognize this logo. I probably saw some of their stuff at IWA. Do they have any pictures or is it just this slideshow? Coming soon, okay. Well, it looks pretty standard. And it has fencing in all the good places. Is this some kind of Flecktarn camo? That looked like the Danish Flecktarn camo actually. But yeah, they look really nice. Seem to have their own muzzle device. That's not an A2 flash hider or anything. If it's German, they're probably gonna have metric threading and stuff. But if it's... It seems to be a regular direct impingement AR. I think that's a gas tube I can see between the M-locks. So yeah, that's probably a good rifle. Germans can make good ARs. We have Hera Arms and Oberland Arms and Schmeisser making them as well. And all of those are really good alternatives. They're probably good DAR. But I can't give you a good opinion on them because I've never held one or tried one. I don't know anyone who has one. I don't have any personal experience with one. So I don't know if it's quality shit. But I never heard anyone complaining about an AR coming out of Germany. So take that for what you will. Normal has no patience and can't wait for the licensing. Yeah, it sucks, but yeah, that's the way it is. Anders wants to know if an Armalite M15 offensive sporting rifle with EOTech reflex and blah 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 is a good... Yeah, sure, that's gonna be fine. So first rifle on Fritivär, a direct impingement AR. I'm gonna recommend that to anyone. Get a 16-inch one, I guess. You're gonna get most versatility out of that, and then you can pimp it and play Barbie doll with it all you want. Change everything if you want to. EOTechs are really good if you're using night vision, because they're the best at night vision stuff. Otherwise, I would just get, if you're a patriot, get Aimpoint. If you just want value for money, get a Holosun. Unless you have some shit with your eyes that makes it so you can only use holographic sights, then get an EOTech, I guess. I have all three of those. EOTech. Battery life is shit compared to Aimpoint and a Holosun. I have Aimpoint. That works fine. But Holosun is a lot more for your money. But you put money in the pockets of Chinese commies, so there's that. Captain says I have a Hera arms. It works very good for the last 3,000 rounds. Yeah, I have people who got Hera arms rifles when they just started out. They've had them for a long time now, over 10 years, and they're still working fine. And Hera arms has this funky design going on as well, so if you like that shit, go nuts. Those wants to know if the Serbian export ban is affecting Swedes. Serbian export ban. I haven't heard anything about that. We haven't gotten any rifles from Serbia for a long while now. I think they just went to military production for a long while, same as the Bulgarians. So I haven't seen new Arsenal or Zastava rifles in Sweden for a long while. Only old stock repurposed for new. I've seen some old stock come on the market. Everyone I know who has a Zastava, legally at least. I don't know anyone who has it illegally, but they're really popular among the gangsters. Well, whatever. Anyone I know who has a Zastava on a sport shooting license has an older one, second-hand one, that's been around for ages. So, not much new production. Hello, Mark Serbo. Skål på det. Cheers, Mark. Hello, Ostish. A wild Florida man appears. Yeah, you never know where he'll show up next. I just got a vision of Mark in his plane flying over Russian trenches in Ukraine, dropping crocodiles or alligators on them. I should tell that to an AI and see what it draws for me. Boo says PPU brass and components and stuff from Serbia are going to get scars in the US apparently. Oh, okay. Yeah, Pre-Partisan makes some really nice stuff. The extreme spread of their ammo or their consistency in their loads are kind of shit with PPU, but if you just want practice ammo or cheap 2-3 or something, then it's fine. Or their hunting ammo will be fine for hunting purposes. But if you want like really accurate 308 loads or something, buy Lithuanian GGG instead. Yeah, Tom, you're welcome. Tom is selling a rifle that he's owned for 2 months. And I have some memories, Tom, of you telling me that I'm keeping this one forever. I love you, Tom. Well, friend says the litany of the Swedish gun owner. Step 1, apply for license. Step 2, forget all about it, because it takes so long to handle license for the police. Step 3, receive license. Step 4, panic due to no money. That's actually happened to me more than once. Yeah. Oh shit, I remember now, I got a verdict from about the AS Val I tried to get a license for. Let's see, what's it called? God damn it. I'll see if I can find that. I probably did not win that in the courts to get that license, but I totally forgot all about it. There we go. Förvaltningsrätten. I didn't win it. No AS Val for me, and I want. It's already too late to appeal it. It was over 3 weeks ago. I just forgot about it, and then fuck it, because I still could not afford one. So, whatever. And the one I wanted to buy from Ukraine, the guy I wanted to buy it from, I haven't heard from him since October last year, and the last thing he said was, I'm going to war. And yeah, I don't know for sure, but I don't think I'll talk to that guy ever again, unfortunately. That's the way it is in Ukraine. So no AS Val for me, but I kinda resigned to that already a long time ago. They lives in Sumpan. He's my neighbor apparently. Opinions on gas redirecting charging handles and worth the trouble installing on stupid. What's an AGB? All these abbreviations. Gas redirecting charging handles. I guess you mean the T charging handle on an AR. I use that myself when I suppress rifles because otherwise they just blow in your eye. It actually does work and it's a good thing. AGB, do you mean adjustable gas block? Yes, that's really good to have, adjustable gas blocks. So in my direct impingement AR, I just tuned it with a tunable buffer. That basically does the same thing, and I also shortened the barrel so it has less dwell time, which means less gas going backwards. That can bite you in the ass if you're shooting without a suppressor. But I managed to tune the system so it shoots nice with a suppressor and it shoots even nicer without a suppressor. But I'm guessing it's not going to survive long without with some dirt inside of the machine. But a suppressor will work. With an adjustable gas block, you can just put it into adverse if you are crawling in the mud or doing some kind of Finnish brutality or something, and you're getting shit in your rifle. So you're more versatile with adjustable gas blocks. I don't have that on my direct impingement rifle. It just works. So if it's working, I'm not fucking with it. What else have we got? Mark says, can you try again on the AS Val? No, I can't get one. That's the issue. I can't get the one I really want. The once dropped one from the Hostomel airport. That gun is lost in the wind. I can get a civilian Russian gun, but that doesn't have the integral suppressor and all that shit. So, fuck it. And it's super duper expensive as well. It's like 50,000 Swedish or something, or $5,000 or whatever. Mark says, I'll buy the goddamn thing if we can get the paperwork done. Yeah, Mark, talk to our mutual friends in Stockholm, and they can set you up with something if you really want something like that. Yeah, so I'll show you. See if I can find it. Would it still have it on their webpage? There we go. So, there we go. It was a little bit more, 70,000 Swedish kronor, $7,000. So yeah, but it's a cool rifle. Just have to score some 9 9x39, which is kind of hard to score, but I do have the tools to make ammunition for it, and I can cast my own bullets as well. So I can take 7.62x39. I have like 1,000 Lapua brass of 7.62x39, so I can make 9x39 out of that, cast my own bullets, and then I get to shoot it because I have all the tools for it. But I don't really have the rifle, have I? But yeah, it's kind of expensive, mainly a collector's thing, but yeah. Captains wants to know, this has to be an AS Val, or can it be a suppressed Vintorez? Yeah, the Vintorez was the one I showed you. The AS Val was the one I tried to get, but the civilian one is just a Vintorez. The AS Val, if you don't know, is just the same thing but with a folding stock. So whatever. They wants to know, any acceptable suppressors that can tolerate 5.56 mag dumps and cost less than $800 US. Mid-range or budget options you would recommend. So yeah, the only thing that comes to mind is the Finnish bronze. There's several that could do that probably. Like Silent Steel could probably do it. They make stuff for the military. So look at the Finnish bronze. That's Mark says it's funny about the folding stock. So Mark, let's have a look at this again. Is it visible? So this wooden stock, it has like a little button, and then you can remove it. And this, you just press a thing in and turn it like a quarter, and then you can pull it out, and the barrel stops about here, and it's perforated as well, same as an MP5 SD. So you can just take this down into a package that is from here to here, and it's like this big or something. You can put it in your back pocket. It's an interesting firearm, and then you can just put it back together immediately. It's a little bit finicky to take it apart to clean it, but since it has some kind of bizarro striker or something mechanism, it's not an AK inside at all. Path trampled by deer says, in Russia, stock folds you. Those never grow old. Do people know where those jokes actually come from? It's this old comedian in the 80s or something. Whatever. Our Fox says Asutra should work fine. Yeah, I use Asutra myself, but many of my friends use Silent Steel as well. So both will work. If I remember correctly, Silent Steel is compatible with Asutra muzzle devices. Or you can get them compatible at least, which is a good thing. Piotr says, in Soviet Russia, president murders you. That one was really good. Don't drink tea, watch out for windows, etc. Mark says, it's more fun when I'm actually there drinking. Yeah. I don't know what time it is over where you are, Mark. It's probably like 12 o'clock or something a.m. But yeah, if you're bored, you can do a live stream together and drink beer. And I'm almost out of beer. I did go to the shooting range not that long ago and try to shoot a bunch of shotguns, the Benelli M4 Super 90 and my Benelli M3 Super 90, and I found this old bag of shot shells, and I took a look at it and oh, this is 12 gauge, that's nice, and I just brought it. Like 50% of it was 410, which I noticed because one of those asshole cartridges got stuck in the barrel, and then I pressed in another one and just, why doesn't the bolt close? Like a stupid person. No accident, fortunately. and then the rest was just corroded. I had to bang on the bolt to close it. Oh. And then the rest that wasn't corroded was basically slugs and shit, and you can't shoot clays with that. At least I can't. And it's probably a stupid thing to shoot slugs in this direction, because they're gonna fly a fair bit. Okay, it's 1:30 or 13:30. That's good. No, none of this AM PM stuff. Mark is 3D printing the pistol you designed in Norway right now. Didn't you design some of that handgun in New York? Yeah, that's gonna be fun to see. Be careful what you show on YouTube, Mark. They're kind of allergic to 3D printed stuff. I've gotten a strike from that shit at least once. Since then, I have my 3D printer behind me, but it kind of takes the joy out of things if you can't really show your stuff to people. Whatever. 1:30 p.m. Freedom Time, okay. New Jersey, okay, New Jersey, almost New York. Well, that's true, New Jersey is worse. It's bizarre. I have some friends who's fed up with how the police handles gun licensing and shit in Sweden. And they sometimes say, I should move to America, where I can buy a gun over the counter, whatever I want. And I try to tell them that in many ways the laws here in Sweden and the way is better than the US. At least in better than like California, New Jersey and places like that. And the meme about Americans that doesn't know that Europe is not a country and mixes up Sweden and Switzerland and Austria and Australia and all that shit. The same is kind of true for people in Europe who kind of believes that the United States is this monolithic country. It's not. It's a bunch of states collaborating. United States of America. And the culture and the laws kind of differs a lot. Even though you guys have the same constitution. A lot of states trample that constitution and have a shitload of bullshit laws. California, New Jersey, I'm looking at you. So yeah, the laws in California are a lot more restrictive than they are in Sweden. But there are a lot of good places in the United States. Florida is one of them. Even though men live in Florida men, as they're called. That meme is hilarious. Yeah. But you can't just go and buy shit over the counter. You still have to do your background checks and everything. But it is easier in most places in the US. You don't have to wait for arbitrary amount of time to get your shit. And in most places you're allowed to defend yourself. You're not in Sweden. And that was all of the beer for today. Florida is great, says Mark. Mark, I need to come visit you sometime. I have never been to the United States, and I cannot think of a better guide to that amazing country than Mark. Let's see here, any last minute questions here. Normal wants to know, which way should one point a rifle when handling it? In the non-dangerous direction. Fads I've talked to say you should point it up to the sky in case of negligent discharge, but that sounds dumb as a bullet will come down. Yeah, and if you're pointing it down, you can shoot your foot, you can get a ricochet from the ground. There is no, I'm not sure. There's good reasons both for and against pointing it upwards. But pointing it straight up, the terminal velocity of a bullet can hurt you when it comes down. But if you're shooting straight down, I think the risk is greater because of immediate ricochet or a bunch of stones and shit flying in all directions. Also you risk shooting your foot or something. I think if you look at it that way, if you're shooting it kind of straight up, it's gonna fall somewhere. The risk is more spread out. And if you're shooting it straight down where all the people are, it can ricochet among the people. So I think both ways are stupid in their own ways, but there's more risk pointing it straight down. That's just my immediate thoughts on that. And if I'm silly, write in the comments about that. Sul, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. It's stupid that you can't just go to a store and buy a suppressor. In some European countries, everyone can buy a suppressor, even a 5-year-old child. Yeah, that's Norway. In Norway, a suppressor is just a can. It's equal to a can of soda or something. In Sweden, if I have a license for a firearm, I can just go to the store and buy a suppressor for that firearm. So I actually have to have a firearm to put the suppressor on, which is kind of not a problem, right? If I want a suppressor, I need a firearm to put it on, but it's only an issue if you actually collect suppressors for some reason. But if you do that, you can apply for a collector's license for suppressors, and you'll probably get it because it's just a suppressor. Who cares? Even the Swedish police won't fuck with you over that, probably. So, but yeah, some countries in Europe are really upset about suppressors. Even Switzerland is kind of on the fence about suppressors. If you're considered a collector, you can buy suppressors how many you want, but it's still considered a part of a weapon, so you have to have a permit to buy it. To get a permit, you go and get a paper that says I'm not a criminal, go to the police, and then you get another paper that says you can buy free or whatever. So if you have in the canton of Swedish, if you have over 12 firearms or whatever that needs a paper to buy, then you're considered a collector, then you can buy suppressors. But if you can buy suppressors in Switzerland, you can buy belt-fed machine guns as well. So there is that. So it's just the way all gun laws are stupid. Even in Switzerland, especially in the United States, Sweden, any country you care to mention, all gun laws are stupid. Solus wants to know what I'm drinking. I don't actually remember what I'm drinking, because I put this keg into the machine last week, and it keeps it at 3 degrees Celsius, and it keeps for 30 days. So I don't remember. Some German hell beer of some kind. I don't remember the exact brand. Sorry. I have a crumb on my right eyebrow. Okay. Sorry. Mark says, but don't forget, we have something like 200 million mass shootings every day in the US. So the funny thing about those mass shootings in the US, it's those anti-gun assholes complaining about them, but they count everything as a mass shooting. If a police officer fires their firearm in self-defense close to like a school, they're going to count that as a school shooting. Shit like that. You have to look at the actual statistics. And most people who commit homicide with firearms in the US, well, I'm going to try to not be politically incorrect, but those are inner city gangs in the US, and they're killing each other. And most of the statistics are suicides anyway. Like 50% of the statistics for people dead by firearms in the US are suicides anyway. It's just bullshit statistics. If you remove like a couple of Democrat cities from the statistics, the United States is actually one of those most safest countries in the world if you just look at the gun statistics or firearms homicide statistics. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Whatever. That's a lot of US talk in a Swedish live stream. Hustle Roots wants to know if you can get a Saiga 12 on a hunting license. It has to... No, not really, because the stupid rules about only 2 rounds in a magazine still applies to a Saiga 12. And the Saiga 12 is kind of shit. It's kind of shit. Don't buy a Saiga 12. Also, there's a couple of sanctions going on against Russia right now, so you're gonna have a hard time even finding a Saiga 12. You're gonna have to buy a used one, and that's probably gonna be some kind of IPSC modified monstrosity that you still can't get on a hunting license because they fucked with it so much. Kavausu wants to know, American ARs, are they really 50 to 70% more in Sweden? Is importing that expensive? Yes. It's hideously expensive for several different reasons. First, you have to buy them from the United States. So first you have the manufacturer of the AR that's going to send it to a company that exports it. And then you have to have a permit to export it that is super expensive. And then you get it to a distributor in Europe. Then you get to the local distributor in Sweden, and then you get it to the actual reseller in Sweden, the gun store, and then you buy it. That is a lot of hands in a pot of money that's going to take their little share of it. So yeah, that's going to get expensive. There's shipping costs, there's a bunch of taxes, there's permits, there's a hideous amount of bullshit. And also, if your fancy AR from the United States breaks down, where are you going to get the spare parts? Who's going to service it? The United States makes the best ARs, obviously. You have LWRC, Daniel Defense, all those good stuffs. People in Sweden really like LWRC because our special forces uses that, because they couldn't get Heckler & Koch because we're not part of NATO, and we got put in the back end of the line after like Denmark and Norway and all that. Otherwise, everyone would have wanted an HK instead. But anyway, fuck HK, because German laws are stupid. Mainly affects the US. We can get a civilian G36 in Europe. They can't in the US. It's better in Europe if you want an HK, but it's still overpriced bullshit. If you want a German gun that's kind of an HK, buy Heinel. If you just want a German gun that's made good, buy Oberland Arms, buy that D Company, buy Schmeisser, buy something. Whatever. Germany makes good shit. If Germany's good at something, it's making fine mechanical good shit. You should get European-made ARs with current prices, as Moiko. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I really hope that SACO makes those ARs available for civilians that they're making for the Finnish and Swedish military. It's basically just direct impingement ARs. So any of those would work if you want to do that. So if you want to play Hemvärnet or Home Guard in Sweden in the forest while hunting moose or hogs or whatever, buy a direct impingement AR, for example a Heinel or an HK. And both of those will probably be as good or better than what the Swedish military will get. Just remember, it's just write 5 rounds on the application. Make sure it's 18 inches barrel or longer. I would get a 20-inch one if I get a 308 just because I like long-range shooting. But for hunting, 18 inches is good enough. And then go nuts. Buy a lot of 20-round Magpul mags, and there you go. I'm super excited to see how this turns out. And if people are getting their licenses, I might have to sell one of my hunting rifles and get an AR-10 in 308 just for hunting, just to fuck with the old farts in my hunting team. That's going to be hilarious. I do remember when I got my 338 Lapua Magnum, and they just looked at it like it was a piece of shit. Like, oh, that's not a traditional hunting rifle. But then I shot it, and it felt the blast from the muzzle brake, and then they just said, "Whoa, that's a great caliber. That has a lot of depth in it." It's ridiculous and it's funny. Whatever. Solus says, do you recommend any AK that you can get on a hunting license, class 1? I need to change my Browning semi that I have for... Okay, so don't get an AK. Don't get an AK. There's probably, like Zastava has some in good class 1 hunting calibers. If you manage to source a Zastava, that's fine. They're really, really good rifles. But you're going to have a hard time finding a Zastava. Let's look at Zastava. So if you want to if you want a Zastava for your is this now? That's you. This Zastava. Let's look at Zastava European homepage. Hunting and sporting. Semi-auto rifles. Is it this I'm looking for? So this is a Zastava. This little thing you see here, that's an adjustable gas block. It has a reinforced receiver for reduced flex and all that. This is a hunting rifle. They're selling this as a hunting rifle. You could probably get this on a hunting license. So let's see. So they have it in 308. So 308 will hunt moose. It will hunt everything. And this is an AK you can use for hunting. And it's pretty much the only one. Zastava has a long tradition of making AKs that shoot a bunch of different calibers. They have 30-06, they have 308 obviously, they have 8mm Maus, so they have a lot of shit. But this is probably the one that would be good for a Swedish hunting purpose. But it's an AK. It's an AK. This is kind of shit. It is kind of shit. Even though this is probably the best you can buy with adjustable gas block and everything, it's still shit. It's an AK, but this, if you buy this, it's because it's an AK. But look at it. It doesn't even look cool. It looks like a hunting rifle. And you're gonna have a hard time replacing this hunting thumbhole stock bastard of a thing. But it's probably possible, I guess. But yeah. It's like a Dragunov or an SVD in 308, more or less, but it's a long stroke instead of short stroke like the SVD is, and it has 10 round mags. You're gonna have to buy a mag that basically modify the mag for 5 rounds if you're gonna have it for hunting. Yeah, it'll do. But I would get an AR-10 every day of the week. AR-10s are so much better. Normal Citizen says 30-06 AK. Yeah, the AK guy has a video about it. Check his channel. Greg says Astro Sweden sells Stag Arms M16 Witherspoon 20-inch barrel, 15,000 Swedish. Yeah, they'll do it. That's okay for hunting. Buy that. That's gonna be fun. If it's an AR-15, it's 2 to 3, I guess. That would be fun for like semi-long range shooting, like at least 300 meters, probably like 5-6 as well. That'll be fun. Not sure of the accuracy and the quality of that. I don't know anything about that brand, but it's a good price, because if you buy an AR-15, then you can change the barrel, you can change the bolt receiver, anything, upper, whatever, and just say, oh, it broke, and then swap it out. You already have the license. You don't have to apply for a new license to change the barrel. You just have to destroy the old one and get a new one. It's super easy to do if you really want to. But yeah, things like this, I would say buy something you know is good. I don't know anything about that brand, but if it's only 15,000 in Sweden, then it's probably not going to be that good. I would settle for known brands. If I want to, like the first AR, I would have a budget of 25,000 Swedish krona. And then I would buy something that I know is going to work. If you tried it, if you know what the accuracy is for your purpose, and then buy that. Our Fox says, my buddy got a Stag Arms. He says he's very happy with Stag. I heard good things about Stag Arms. They're supposedly really good. Yeah. All right, I'm out of beer, people, and yeah, it's Friday, and I'm gonna see if the missus drank all the beer in the keg, or if there's a little bit less left. If I know her, she's drank all the beer already. We'll see. You guys have a really good weekend, and talk to you next Friday. See you, Mark.